You can zip it now. Oh, excuse me, I'm going to expose myself here. How's that? Can people hear me okay? Right. I've done it as well. How are you doing, George? You keeping busy? Your photo's looking really good. Who else have we got online? That's really nasty, Ralph. I apologise, Ralph is making some disgusting noises below me. I don't know what they are. He's going to keep doing it. I'm suspicious of him, Jen. What's he planning? He's just on the bed. Very strange. Hi, Sally. You okay? Hi, Mum. So at 11 o'clock, we're going to be joining the rest of the nation to observe a minute's silence to remember more than 100 key workers who've died protecting us in the past few months. So I'm sure you'll all join in with me. I've set an alarm on my watch to go off, so make sure we don't miss it. But we'll start a little bit late, so we're doing that. But it looks like everyone's joining early, so that's even better. So what has everyone done over the weekend? Anything worth sharing? Apart from staying home, obviously. That's a good point, Jen. Could you put my phone on Do Not Disturb? Just realised I haven't done. Decorating, sounds good. I wish we could be decorating. Sally, George, what have you been up to? Thank you. Taking photos, good answer, George. Approve of that. So 2.5 minutes, and we'll do our minute's silence. And I'll remember to mute my microphone. Morning, Zoe. So anything else been happening, guys? Went to your virtual hen do? That sounds interesting, Sally. Tell us more. How did you do that? Was that a Zoom call or FaceTime call or something? We did that for ours. We had boys and girls in it. We worded it the other way around, called it hag do, though. I think you went for the more dignified naming there. I take it was a good night then. I'm too old to go to bed at midnight, Sally, so I'm with you, don't worry. I'm taking it was the night before last and not last night then. And you're just recovering 2 days on. Apparently, you're not supposed to know that, George. She was very sensible and didn't drink anything. But anyway, so it's nearly 11 o'clock. We're going to go to a minute's silence to remember more than 100 key workers who've died protecting us in the past few months. Thank you, everyone. I'll give everyone another minute or so to join back in. I can't deal with any hangover at all, Sally, so yeah. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining us with that. Morning, Lisa. He's making some weird noises today, isn't he? Don't know what he's doing. I think he's just bored of us, to be honest.
Just about, doesn't he?
He wants a walk. Surprised he didn't run in then, actually. So again, we'll have another minute, just make sure we've got everybody with us, and then we'll make a start. I've packed quite a few things in for a Tuesday, so I don't want to run over too much and keep you all here. I don't know if Pip has joined us yet, but she said she was going to join late because she was doing the minute silence with the kids with the TV. She's very sensible. I think we've got a few people dropping out here. Well, I'm one of them. Have we lost a few of you? So before I start, does everyone want to just give me a thumbs up so I know I've got everyone I'm expecting? All right, okay. We'll give it one more minute then, in that case. I suspect Lisa's dropped out. And Zoe by the looks of it. No, Zoe's internet's struggling. That'll be why. I say it keeps going up and down. Cool. Right. So, welcome to the Photography Club, guys. I'm pretty sure I don't need to introduce us every time, but I'll do it just in case I've got someone on there that we don't know. I'm Gavin. This is Jenny. Or Jenny's hand, anyway. Ralph is not in the room this time for some reason. He's having a sulk. I told him off yesterday, and he was grumpy with me for, well, if he's still grumpy with me, we're nearly 24 hours of grumpiness. He literally, there was one point where I talked to him, and he wouldn't look at me. And I said treat, and he just kind of turned and side-eyed me and then looked away again. Properly just went on grump with me. So yeah, Is the internet hungover? Why would the internet be hungover? Anyway, yeah, so welcome to the Photography Club. This is the Tuesday episode, so it's part 2. We discussed phone photography on Friday and we went through some tips and tricks. So it was a little bit of a less interactive episode, but hopefully we've got the interaction in today a little bit more. So I will be asking some questions and going through things a little bit more. And then we'll discuss what we're going to be doing on Friday and got a couple of tasks for you to do before Friday's episode. Wonderful. Right. So that's supposed to be on screen when I'm saying that. I do this every time. It should tell me what. Yeah, never mind. Okay, so can anyone tell me what were the settings we discussed to start with on our phones? So the ones I said we need to kind of keep set as we go. When we're starting off taking pictures, what are those settings we need to kind of rely on? Ratio, excellent, George. What ratio should we be using? Oh, there we go, sorry. Jen's is ahead of mine for some reason. Yeah, 4:3, absolutely. Why was that, George? Well, why was that, anyone? Why were we using that ratio in particular when our phones give us a choice? Hopefully you haven't got buzzing this week and it should be better. I'm guessing it's something to do with the speaker. Sounds good. Cool. So why did we decide, or why did I decide, you guys didn't have a say in that one, why we should be using the 4:3 ratio on our phones rather than 16:9 or 1:1 or anything like that? Sort of, Lisa. It is the best. Pretty much it. Technical reason behind it is our phone has a little sensor in it, which is what is capturing the image. That is the shape of that sensor. If we are using any other of the ratios, we're not using the full sensor, so we're getting lower quality images. It's fairly simple. It's just a case of what we've got available to us and making sure we're making the most out of it. It's the same with any camera. You'll find with if you've got like a bigger, like an SLR or anything like that, they're usually 3:2 rather than 4:3. I don't know why. I don't know why a phone is different, but yeah, they're slightly squarer, 4:3 than 3:2. That's the reason. Okay, so what are the other settings we wanted to do? One of them we discussed the previous week as well. So what settings have we got already set on our phone? And hopefully you will always do this. No flash R. I agree, no flash R. Absolutely, the grid is very important as well. Which app were we using? I've lost you. Where are you? There we go. No effects, no filters. HDR, if you've got it, some of them it's hidden and it's already on. But yeah, no filters, absolutely. And what I was alluding to with the app is we're just using a standard camera app. No fancy tricks or anything like that, no gimmicks, just straight up photo mode camera, keeping things simple because it's all about what you're creating, not what your phone's creating. And that's why it doesn't matter whether we're using a 10-year-old phone or a 1-month-old phone, it's still going to do a good thing. And no zoom, absolutely. So, did everything make sense for as far as the settings and things like that? Is that helped everybody. Because it seems like you've all listened, which is always nice for me. Feels good. And another thing I am going to ask towards the end is if there's, again, like we did a couple of weeks ago, anything you all want to learn going forward. So if there's anything that's come up in phone photography that you still want to look at, feel free to say, and we will try and come back to it at some point for you as well, because obviously it's what it's there for. We want to know what you want, but I'll ask that at the end anyway. Wonderful. Did anybody find anything when using their phone, any settings they weren't familiar with, or anything they'd not seen before, anything we didn't discuss? Oh, thank you very much, Jane. We like compliments. We'll take that. Yeah, is there anything, and obviously we want to be able to help, so this is kind of the good opportunity. If you've got any questions that you found while you were shooting without being live with us that we can help fix or help you kind of understand a little bit better. AI lens on Huawei. Jen, would you mind Googling that for me? Just tell me what it is. I'm guessing AI lens will be things like portrait mode and things like that. Let me just look. Oh, right. AI lens is just your phone integrating with the camera. So things like scanning QR codes. It's using its sensors and things to put things on where you've got augmented reality and things like that. Not much for photography wise from what I would assume. Yeah, it gives you the ability to kind of scan things as well, and it'll tell you what things are. Not a huge amount of use in photography. Not that I've heard of anything anyway. It might be giving you slightly better autofocus and things like that. That's probably about the limit of it. You'd like to know a bit more about filters, Lisa. Your phone is craving different places, and that I can't really help with. Filters, we're going to be discussing editing in next week's episode, which is going to be our way of doing filters ourselves. Filters effectively are just preset edits, and they're not specific to a photo. They are just an automatic thing that somebody else has created for you. So we're going to kind of do it our own way, a little bit slower, a little bit more manual, but understand what we're doing as we do it, basically. Wonderful. So, moving on. So, can anyone tell me what this little yellow square is telling us on this photo? So if you can't see it, Lisa, it kind of comes down to the software, whether you're editing on the computer or the camera. Again, to me, it's more about the decisions and what you do with it rather than what you're doing it on. I don't think for the sake of what we're doing, I don't think anybody said they were planning on printing things on billboards or anything like that. I can't see the quality being so much of an issue that it matters what you're doing it on. It's more about how you do it and what you do. Absolutely. Well, focus is what that one's showing for now. Don't get ahead of me. Yeah. So the yellow square is where I've touched the screen, and it's where it is focusing in the image. Absolutely. And what's this? So this one, we've got that little yellow line with the sun icon on it. What is that telling us? And what is it doing, I should say, as well? Exposure, absolutely. And how would we use that? Excuse me, sorry guys. Absolutely. What happens if we slide it up, George? And what happens if we slide it down, everyone? I need to hold that higher up so I'm not just looking down into my lap for the whole episode. So interesting, actually, Lisa, just reading back on what you said about computer or on your phone editing, is what we will be doing on Friday should be interchangeable between the two anyway. So while I'm showing you exactly how to do it on your phone, those settings could be used on a computer to edit if you wanted anyway. And you could still use to the same skill set, it's just slightly different places on the software. Yeah, slide it up and down. So would we go up to make it brighter or down to make it brighter, guys? And interestingly, so looking at the focus and exposure that we talked about, what was that new to everyone? Had everyone discovered that before and just understood it a bit better, or was this completely new to everyone? So yes, George, up would make it brighter, down would make it darker. Yeah, as I thought, I think most people have seen it, but maybe either not understood it or, yeah, never seen it. That's great. Good to know we can help. That's lovely. So I've actually, while waiting for everyone to catch up there, I've actually posted the link to the Facebook group underneath in YouTube. So if anyone isn't a member yet, join in. We can have a bit of discussion on there. And if you've got any questions, it's a great place to post it as well. Because obviously, you know, it might be that other people in that group can answer it. It doesn't have to be me and Jen. Wonderful. Right. So yeah, so it was pretty new to people then, which is good. I'm glad that's helped. Did everyone manage to use it over the weekend then? Did everyone find they managed to kind of... Oh, Sally, you just got burned completely then. Yeah, did everyone manage to use the focus and exposure over the weekend on their photos? And did everyone find it easy enough to use as well? Good. That's what we like to hear. So let's carry on. So I've put this in the wrong order, haven't I? It's supposed to be at the end. Let's move it. Oh, I can't. We'll come back to it. Okay, so obviously while we were live, we did some images. So I thought I'd show you what I'd done while we were live so you can see the images finished. So this was the one we did looking at, it was kind of both focus and exposure. We used these because we were doing it at the same time. So as you can see, we were focusing just here. And naturally here, we'd probably end up with this bit going a little bit white because it's very bright. So we darkened it down a little bit just to get that whole exposure. And as you can see, got very little in the way of black. Everything's got a little bit of information in there. And very, very little too bright. So it's kind of a nice even exposure. It's a really good example of that. And then we did this one. And again, this one was both at the same time. So we were touching on the flowers to get them in focus. And which is really great because they were so close to the camera. Things behind went out of focus, so it gave us that nice little separation. And by dropping the exposure a little bit, we managed to get this corner of grass brighter. And you might notice that that's rule of thirds there as well. And then we photographed my gorgeous model. And so this was us doing the change in perspective. So you might have seen on the Facebook group, I posted the kind of before and after we did. I've just done the the after here because it was a nice shot. But again, we were using the focus point, touching him in the middle of his face, making sure he's in focus. But I think this was kind of the part of it. I think just looking at the homework you all grasped really, really well was that change in perspective and just changing your angle and thinking about what's in the frame a little bit more and not being afraid to get lower, which I think a lot of you did the lower quite a lot. Seemed to work really, really well. So this was great because we got him from above, he looked cute, but it wasn't a great angle of him. It was quite boring. By getting down lower, we got some nice kind of foreground going on, some nice background. It kind of sets the scene a little bit better, but also puts him right in the middle. So we've got that almost a bit of symmetry. Got the lovely triangle of his paws, and he's probably rule of thirds, guessing, looking at that as well. So we kind of covered a bit of everything, which is good. But yeah, it's a great way of highlighting that, just that thinking and making a conscious decision about your shot rather than just pointing and shooting, is thinking about what you're taking before you take it. And I think that's something that's come up over and over again, and the thing that's, I think, probably helped you all most is just that little bit of thinking about what you're doing before you do it. So then we did from the same angle, we used the focus and exposure a little bit more. Problem with a black dog, anyone who's photographed a black dog will know they end up jet black on a phone because the phone can't really cope with them. Well, they end up jet black or blurry with a white background. So we were just looking at that, and I think we pressed on his eyes and got him in focus there. Wonderful. And the last one we did was one just showing you how making, again, that conscious decision to make a darker part of an image even darker to create what is in this a silhouette can be really interesting and really kind of all about shape and creating something quite unique. So I'm not sure if anyone could see this that well live because we were having the problems with the screen, but what does everyone think of that as a finished image? Yeah, it's quite kind of abstract because you don't get, it takes you a bit of time to work out what it is. But coming back to kind of our shape episode in particular, it's creating shapes because you can't see things in it. So by creating that silhouette, so obviously we were pressing to focus on the corner of the house, but that was going to then make the sky too bright. So we were then darkening it down so the sky kept that really nice kind of aquary blue. But lost the house, so we were trying to kind of keep that house too dark on purpose. So it was a conscious decision, so it keeps something a little bit different. And yeah, so actually for our shape episode, perfect, because we've got all sorts of shapes going on there, but you've got that negative space creating shapes as well again. So those of us who did episode 2 was shapes, I think. Yeah. So episode 2, you can see exactly how we've done that by making that decision to change the exposure, because I don't think you'd see those things as easily, obviously, if the exposure was just kind of even all over. So a bit different. What are you confused about, George? You having a think? Quite low on delay this week, which is quite good. Love the dark shade. I really like the colour of that blue as well. Oh, you just think it's interesting. Sorry, George, I thought you were confusing you for a minute then. Nope, good. Glad you're not confused. You're following, which is good. Right then. So, this is where I was supposed to have that other slide. So, for the homework, we were doing 2 shots showing the same subject from a different angle of perspective. 1 shot using the focus adjustment. 1 shot using the exposure adjustment. I'm assuming you probably 2 shots were both doing both with those a little bit. Plus 1 other really great photo, so using last 3 weeks' lessons. So yeah, really, really good work in there, particularly like some of those changing angle and perspective. There's some lovely stuff, and it's really nice to see. I think Emma posted one really like on the same day, just seeing that you take a lovely photo of Parker, but then just that shift in angle, what a different quirkier image it produced. I really liked that picture. So yeah, some amazing shots coming through. So thank you very much, everyone. Now was when we were supposed to watch the video. So let's watch all your pictures. So let me, if everybody is ready, let's have a look. Ready? Here we go. Well done. Oh, I didn't do the applause thing. Well, I can't even find it. Well done, everyone. That was absolutely amazing. Yeah, I mean, as I said, the quality is just incredible, what we've done there. And yeah, so I don't know if, for the winners, you don't know if everyone spotted, but the before and after was, so we had two shots. So it's the second shot, effectively, was the winning shot. We just put them both in there to show that change in angle. So I loved, again, Emma's, she kind of nailed it straight away and then improved on it again, which was really impressive, was seeing kind of Parker and other half kind of growing out the top of the dandelion in the background, which I really, really like. It's just fun. It just kind of, it just told a lot of story by doing it. Am I quite loud? Sorry, Jen. Mr. Shouty over here deafening you all. Weirdly, I don't know. Yeah, George, it says over here, my emojis don't work on this screen, and it just writes wash hands. So it must be. But I took it as clapping, so clapping will work too. So yeah, well done to Emma, Pippa and Sally. Really, really good work. And as I said, every week I can kind of seeing everybody improving week on week, which I love. And I can see things we've talked about being put into practice, which is lovely as well. And yeah, well done to everyone. It's not just about the winners, obviously. There were some amazing shots and we struggled to pick. So thank you very much. I'm impressed. It was really good. Right. So, homework is a bit more simple this week. So it's not a case of going away and taking loads and loads of photos. So, introducing next week, we are going to be talking about editing photos on your phone. So as I kind of alluded to earlier in the episode, everyone uses filters and things like that. They are a cheat. That's not to say they can't look good, but that's not what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing some basic settings to just improve your photos a little bit. Nothing really, really flash and obvious. This is just a case of making the most of the images you've already taken, basically. So to do that, we're going to be using a piece of software called Lightroom, which is available on everybody's phones. I'm pretty confident. So it's definitely available on iPhone, Huawei, Samsung, Nokia. So if anybody's not one of those, let us know and we'll check really quickly. The reason I've chosen that is, well, that's something we use day to day on our computers, so it's something we're very familiar with and we can teach you the settings really easily. It's also something that means everybody can be working on exactly the same settings across every single device, and that makes it a lot easier to teach. So I'm not saying other pieces of software aren't good, I'm just saying that this works really well for us. So that should help us kind of play along together. They should all look pretty much identical, hopefully, and I can have it up on screen and show you what I'm doing as I do it. So if everybody could go and download that for me. It is free on app stores. There is a subscription available with it that adds some extra settings. You will not need any of those for what we're doing, and I severely doubt ever they're kind of unnecessary for what we're doing. We're doing kind of basic settings, so you're absolutely fine with those. If everyone could download them, if you want to do it now and make sure if there's any problems, or feel free to send us messages if you're having any issues with it and we can address that for you. Second piece of the homework, I would like you to bring one photo to the lesson that you have taken you think is your best. So, that's great if that's from the last 5 weeks and can show some of the skills you've done. But if you found one you've taken beforehand, even if it's on a different phone or camera, that's absolutely fine. As long as it is sat on your phone in your camera roll or photo album, as long as it's accessible on your phone, because we're going to be editing it. So it needs to be the original file, no filters, no editing at all, just what you took in your default camera. So as we talked about on Friday, ready to work on, so hopefully full quality, not cropped or anything like that. Okay. Does that make sense to everyone? Is that okay? Let's have a look. Just went and got it now. Excellent, George. It will probably be quite big, is the other thing I will point out. So if anyone's struggling with storage, I apologise. Hopefully that's not an issue. But if there's a couple of you in the house and one of you can get it and you can work together, I'm sure that'll work just as well. I will have it up on screen. I'm going to put the iPad version on and take over half the screen with that, so you're going to be watching me doing it. I'm sure there's a way to show on screen what I'm touching, isn't there? I'll work it out. I'm sure there is. So yeah, for those who aren't familiar, Lightroom is made by Adobe, who make Photoshop. So when we're working on people's shows for clients, we work about half of it in Lightroom and the other half in Photoshop to do the more detailed stuff. But it means half of the image, most of the settings, most of the really important things are done in Lightroom. So we're going to be doing that. The mobile version is a shrunk down version, but it's still got just as much settings, really. There's not that much difference. In fact, you can actually use the mobile version on a computer as well. So that's not free though. Right, does that all make sense to everyone? Does everyone know what they've got to do for their homework? Yeah, it should be. I'm going to be doing it on an iPad, so it should be identical, if not just slightly different shape on the screen. Or what we're going to be looking at is the icons and the settings and things like that. So there shouldn't be any difference. So feel free to follow along on your iPad. Does this hinder anyone? Actually, that's a really good point. As far as, are they watching us now live on their phone, and therefore they're not going to be able to do it along with it? I just want to make sure, because if that's going to be an issue, we'll see if we can find a workaround for you. Think of something. I mean, hopefully everyone's got something else that plays YouTube live in their house. So whether that is another phone, another tablet, a computer, a lot of TVs have got YouTube. Things about, there you go, TV is available. Yeah, a lot of TVs have got a YouTube app now. I know we watch the quiz on a Thursday night live on our TV, and that works perfectly. But I know that could be that. I've always tried to make sure that we aren't hindering anyone with technology, but this is the one bit where it kind of comes into it. So hopefully that's going to work for everyone. But let me know if you've got any issues. I'm quite happy to talk to someone and see if there's anything we can think of, stick our brains together. Do you know what, Jen? Could you post the App Store links in that post? You can search them on there. They probably already are searched because I did them yesterday. Yeah, so I think Jen's going to post the links to the App Stores, so for both Android and iPhone. No problem, Sally. Well, if you have real problems, obviously you can always watch it back. It might be easier because you can pause a little bit more and things like that then. I will try and take it slow and repeat things just in case people do drop out. But that is all we're going to be doing, is editing one photo together. So taking it slow should work fine. We haven't got to go in and out and go away. So I'll try and keep the interaction going like we did today, because obviously we missed out on that a little bit on Friday. The one phone we've not discussed as far as photos or this is Google. I think they use the same app store anyway, don't they? I think the Pixel does, because I don't know whether anyone had that. Link to the Facebook page should be in the video underneath. Let me check. How do I do that on here? Okay, I can't. Jen, could you just go on YouTube? Is there? Yeah. So if you're on YouTube on your phone or on a computer, it should show the Facebook link just in the description underneath. I can't get it off the screen. I was going to pick up my phone and then you're there. If you just go, I think it's been shared on our Rolf and Co Photography Facebook page anyway to get to the group. Thank you, Jen. That will be. So yeah, Jen is literally just pasting those links for everyone now, just to make things a little bit simpler. Right, is that okay for everyone? Does that make sense? So we're bringing one photo, needs to be your favourite, your best, so we can edit that. Ideally, if it does do things that we've done in the past 5 weeks, that's amazing, because it shows what you've learned and we're applying everything to one photo, which is brilliant. Secondly, do that way around. Secondly, downloading Lightroom and having that ready on your phone, or tablet is fine as well. So I'm not sure whether it works on Kindles, but it'll definitely work on most Android tablets, and obviously iPads work fine as well. And what you will get is look like this. Maybe I'll do it on my phone. This is quite slow. Yeah. So once it's open, should I just have that, and we'll go through everything next week anyway. Next week, Friday, that's the one. Right, I think that has covered everything. Has anyone got any questions about last week's episode or next week's episode before I go? George is giving you lessons, Sally. I know that's the truth. There it is. Thank you. Let me know if everybody's understood homework and everything. And otherwise, I think we've covered everything for today. Light wall. Do you mean Lightroom, George? I'm just checking, make sure before. Can you trial it? The paid version, well, you could if you wanted. That's up to you guys. You won't get very much benefit from it. You know, if I'm completely honest. Can you test it? Feel free to have a go. Absolutely, do what you want. It's not the simplest, and as far as it is simple once you understand a few of the settings. And I'll tell you what's going to kind of damage your image and things like that. But feel free to have a play beforehand, and I'll go through things. It's once you get used to it, it is quite a simple piece of software, and it can do quite a lot. As I said, you know, if it worked in our workflow, it does enough for us to do things for people's shows, for clients. So it is very, very good. But yeah, obviously we're using it. The main reason is so we've got something we can all use together. Otherwise, you know, things like the editing built into an iPhone, for example, is pretty good, and it's pretty close to some of the stuff Lightroom can do. But not everybody's the same, whereas Lightroom is consistent across all platforms. A little bit easier. Right. As long as everyone's happy, feel free to ask questions. We'll obviously get the video up on YouTube and Facebook as we do normally. I won't cut this down because we're only up to about 40 minutes, so it's pretty easy for people to catch up on. But yeah, we'll get working on that for you. I'll get a nice, I'll pick a nice image to work on for you. Something similar to what you'll have done, so it might be one we shot live, because that might make things a little bit easier for you because it's something you saw. But otherwise, everyone have a lovely week, and we will see you Friday morning. Goodbye. Jen?
Bye.
See you guys.